Hey, this is the Fight Nerd. I'm here with David Ross from New York Sanda. David, thanks for being here.
Thanks for coming down.
Hey, no problem. So today we got some little fun toy to play with. We have here the shield. David, do you mind holding it up to the camera?
Yeah, there you go.
This monstrosity is what we're going to be kicking the crap out of today. It's called the Shield, made by Chikara-Kan. First thoughts on looking at this thing, David. What do you think about it?
It's really big, so I'm hoping it will absorb the strikes, but by the same token, I'm a little concerned that it's big, like moving it around and seeing how we're going to be able to use it with all the different kicks and punches. But we're going to find out by beating the crap out of it today.
But before we get to testing the shield, here's a few quick facts about it. The shield is 26 inches tall and 18 inches wide and weighs about 10 pounds. It uses layers of foam and foam rubber to simulate the feel of the human body, and uses a cloth instead of vinyl on the outside. It has nylon reinforced handles with soft rubber grips. This shield was designed by Sean Kovacic, who is a karate and taekwondo black belt who holds Guinness World Records for endurance high kicking and is also the author of Achieving Kicking Excellence series. So with the help of a few of the fighters from New York Sanda, including Dennis Martinez, Carlos Font, Adam Swindell, and Doug Miller, we put the shield through the works by running it through a barrage of tests, both standing and on the ground, to check its durability and functionality. So how are we going to test it? By beating the crap out of it, of course.
My overall thoughts about the shield is that it is good. It has its good qualities, but it's a little too big. It should be about a third of the size in thick and width. It'd be easier for us to use it, move it around. Better for leg kick. It loses control sometimes when you kick it. Definitely for maybe push kicks, side kicks, boxing. It's good. It's good for throwing punches on. It absorbs a lot for the boxing. And ground and pound, it's pretty good. Just needs to be a little bit smaller.
My thoughts on a shield for straight attacks, such as like a T, which is a push kick or a thrust kick or side kick, is good. But when I felt that I hit it, I didn't feel like I really got through. Only reason I believed that I fell through was because he was backing up after I had hit it. So I couldn't tell if it was my impact that pushed him back or it was exactly. I know I could jab it, I could cross it. Those felt good doing it. On ground and pound is good. Again, one problem is pretty obvious. The handle's on the side, because you have to turn all the way over to like throw a round kick, and if you hold it like this, you're going to hurt your hands.
Main thing that I saw about the bag is that it was way too big. As far as feeling wise, it felt good to punch. As far as the boxing, felt good. I mean, it does have a really good impact that you could it has a good shock absorbent. As far as when I was shooting for takedowns on it, it was kind of felt like I was slamming into a wall. Like if I was just going right into the wall, I feel like if it had like a little bit of a curve, maybe kind of like one of those shields that you hold, it kind of that I can get under and move it with it. Also, the handles were just so loose that when you would shoot into it, it was moving all over the place. It felt like it was kind of going over my back. Other than that, as far as the punches did feel good. I mean, it was great for the ground and pound, and the kicks felt okay. I mean, other than it's hard to get your shin onto it because your foot is hitting it as well. But I mean, other than that, it does do the job if you can just tweak a couple things.
The shield was exactly what it was. It was a shield. It was very large. It was great for boxing, but since it had so many corners on it, it was hard to kick, especially for your shin kicks. Leg kicks, it was too cumbersome. It's too hard to hold. Everything just got sloppy in there. It was actually okay for ground and pound. Kind of enjoyed it that it was big and absorbed it, that you could play both sides of it, that neither one had to be the head. You can keep playing around, jump from knee on belly to knee on belly. But again, it needed to be smaller in size. It was way too big to play around with, especially for so many rounds. If you're training for a real fight, it's way too big.
I held the pads, so I have a different perspective on it. I liked it for the boxing. I felt it was really good for the boxing. The big negative was the handles. The handles are very loose, and so I don't have much control of the pad. So when I'm trying to do different combinations and moving it around, it was very hard to hold for the kicks because of the handles. They need more like tie handles, like hard, firm handles. These are just straps with like plastic. I think the plastic actually makes the straps worse.
As for the Fight Nerd's thoughts on using the shield, I had a lot of the same problems with it. For punches, it offered no real resistance, and my hand sort of sunk into the shield. For kicks, it was okay, but again, there was not much bounce to it after I hit it, like I usually would expect from a vinyl shield or a heavy bag. For knees, I actually liked it because it was easy to get a groove with it, and this was my highlight for using this product. Ground and pound, however, did not impress me that much, since the shield kept slipping under my weight, and again, the lack of resistance felt awkward when I punched or elbowed it. Photo Kenny, one of our photogs on thefightnerd.com, also gave it a try with his fast and hard hands, being a former amateur boxer, and agreed with my sentiment of the lack of resistance and snapback from the Shield, and said it doesn't really promote proper striking because of that problem.
General pros is that it's kind of soft, it's not too hard, so it's not going to break your wrist or hurt your hand too much training. Definitely cons is that it is too big, it's too hard to hold, too hard to function really, and it's not real life, like no one's SpongeBob SquarePants. It's not going to work.
The pros and the cons of the Shield is it's definitely good. It absorbs very well when you kick it. You're obviously not hurting your partner while training. Cons of it, definitely just too big. Needs to be, like I said, about a third of the size, and it'd probably be a really good device to use.
From holding it, it was really good for the boxing. It was, from my perspective, good for working the shoot. I didn't like it for the kicks, and I thought the handles need to be redesigned. Also, as I don't know if you're going to see it, but there's one point where I was trying to hold for kicks, and because the handles are on the side instead of on the back, I got kicked in the hand. And when you're holding for a lot of people, you don't want to get kicked in the hand.
All right, so David, final thoughts on the Shield?
I thought we had a mixed reaction. We found there was a couple of things that it really worked well for. With some redesign, I think it could work well as a piece of gym equipment, and I think, like Carlos said, it's also maybe good for people that are like training in their basement or their garage, because there's a couple of different things you can do with it. I'd like to see better handles, and I think if it was curved a little bit, maybe the edges rounded out a little bit, and if it was a little bit smaller, it would be a very good piece of equipment. So it's kind of like a prototype. I think we'd like to play with it more. Like I said, there were some drills that it worked for us for. The ground and pound was really good for. I would maybe bring it in for a ground and pound pad the way it is. And, of course, it was redesigned. We'd bring it in and try it again for kicks.
And now the final conclusion, of course, is it worth buying? Because the price of this item is $150 plus shipping. So what do you think about that price for this item?
I think it's overpriced for the way it is now. With some redesign, maybe. But, there are better pads that you can get for cheaper right now. I'd forget it entirely at $150, unfortunately.
If it was lower, you might say go for it?
Yeah, I think if they lowered it, it's probably, I buy a lot of equipment, obviously. I own a gym. It's more like a $60 or $70 item. I think it's a little too high at the rate that you're saying.
So the final verdict is the Shield is not bad for a prototype, and what we were trying out was, in fact, a prototype. It needs to be not so big, a bit harder, the handles need to be changed, and the price should be a bit less. But with some improvements, it could be a very good item. But for now, it's a bit much. So keep an eye out for it and see how this product develops. For more info on the Shield and the Achieving Kicking Excellence series, head to Chikara-Kan.com. This video was filmed at New York Sanda, located at Midtown Manhattan at 313 West 37th Street between 8th and 9th Avenue. You can check them out at nysanda.com. This video was sponsored by Hoodlum Fight Gear. Check out their gear and apparel at hoodlumfightgear.com.
Get up! Oh no! It returns! Don't tell me! I think it's the most electrifying move in sports entertainment today! Oh, the people down